so thankful, because last year around this time, I was laid up in the hospital with COVID. So
that was a very difficult time. At the beginning of this whole pandemic, I felt like I was in like a different country almost. Like it was so, just like, I think we lost about 4 people in our family. But I don't know if you guys know that there was 3 people in the hospital at the same time. 2 didn't make it out. Thank God, Mommy made it out, but they didn't. And I get kind of emotional about it, even talking about it now, because I don't think, or I know for myself, I haven't had the opportunity to like even mourn that. I couldn't even go to the funeral. They had like a Zoom funeral, and I was like, that, I just can't. I can't see her in that way. And so I think that whole, and then you, Mom, that whole thing, we were all just really even speechless right now, because no one is saying anything.
I'm really happy that we were able to come together and figure out how to manage that. I'm really happy that the voices that were speaking out to the doctors and nurses, I wasn't one of the ones speaking, but that you all took that opportunity to be vocal and to advocate for Mommy. But I'm especially thankful for the doctor friends that I know that provided such insight about studies that were coming out and various techniques that made us question the doctors. Did you flip her on her stomach so that her lungs could get air in a different way?
Did you sit her up? Did you
sit her up? Did you ask about this combination of medication? Ask for hydrochloroquine instead of this. And I mean, that whole thing.
And even talking to the nurses, like being on FaceTime.
Well, I think that was the other tough piece, that we couldn't go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right. It was like that was a mental fight in itself.
Dropping her off at the door.
And
watching them roll her in and be like, bye at the door. Yeah.
I remember driving up that night and just kind of like breaking down and crying. Because again, you had no control, you couldn't see her, you didn't know if this was going to be goodbye. Like that was really like mentally tough.
And it was like 3 weeks of that, like, yeah, that was hard.
And for me, I'm gonna say, I don't want to cause no problems, but I think special shout out for me for Keena, because I feel like she kept it together, and I know she helped me kind of deal with it, and she was level-headed. I'm not sure when she got her time to cry and deal with it, but I think you handled it better than I did.
I think you were okay. Like, I mean, there were times that you and I were like clashing, like, hey, Mommy is there. Okay, I'm gonna need you. Why is it 1 o'clock but she ain't eat yet? Oh, she said she ain't hungry. I don't care if she ain't hungry.
Let me chime in. I'm glad that we actually having this
conversation. But let me finish. I didn't
finish.
There was times where I would be calling like, why is she still laying down? Sit her in the bathroom. Mitra said do this. Why is this not happening? Oh, she said she's feeling better. She's not feeling better, because I can look at her face and tell she's not feeling better. She was getting worse. And I know that was a big responsibility of you, but it's your job because she happens to live with you. So you happen to be that person that everybody was calling. And I think you were getting a little frustrated with us, like, because we were calling so much. But that's the responsibility of whoever she's with, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, are you done?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm glad this is on me now. So let me just say this. In that space of when all this was happening, when Mommy initially came home and she was sick, it happened to be her birthday. She came home, you went to sleep, and I watched her for 3 days. And yes, sometimes you didn't eat. So I'm not quite sure. I don't really remember what Nisa's talking about, but here's the thing. I was very frustrated with you and with you, because while y'all was constantly calling and barking orders, y'all didn't even want to come over.
I was out of state.
No, yeah, but even so, you were very concerned about the COVID itself. And it was like, yeah, no, I'm concerned that that Zuri might be around, all this other stuff. So to me, in my mind, like, y'all shouldn't be barking orders when y'all don't want to come over.
Well, that's not true, because I was out of state. When I came home, Mommy was already in the hospital. I didn't come over after Mommy got home, but Mitra certainly came to my house where I was living when she was not feeling
like
well.
On COVID spray.
Yes, I was. But I didn't deny her not being there. She came, and I thought I was taking good care of her with COVID. Was that not true?
You know what? Do not.
Did you tell her something different?
Listen, let's talk about the fact that, and I think we're dismissing this. So, not for nothing, Keena had COVID and was managing Mommy.
Thank
and
you.
There's something to be said. I mean, I had it, Hamidullah had it, and now that we know more about it, it is physically taxing. I mean, I remember feeling like, wow, like I just want to lay here. I don't want to do anything else. I call a doctor. I'm like, I don't know, prescribe me something. There's nothing to do. So there's something significant to be said that Keena probably had COVID not too long after Mommy got it, and she still managed to identify when Mommy needed to go to the hospital, because Mommy was upstairs. She had been sitting on the counter all day. I was there, but I was working. Keena was upstairs. Mommy went upstairs to, I think, use the bathroom.
Yep, I had been asking her, Mom, you okay? You okay? So I was very much paying attention to what was happening. And I noticed, like, Mom, okay, let's go get in the shower. Oh, okay, this is not working. So you're not actually responding. Let's go. It's time for us to go to the hospital. And while you were there, what touched me is that you're there. Now it's day 1 or day 2, and you called me. And you said to me, I don't want to do this anymore. Now, we had talked to everybody and said, listen, give Mommy a break. Don't call her, kind of let her rest. Immediately after you called me and said, I can't do this anymore, I got on the phone with Aunt Nisi, who is a pastor, who is my aunt. And I said, listen, I don't even know what to say. At that point, I broke down.
She was home.
So now I'm crying. No, she's in the hospital. Okay. It's day 1 or day 2. Okay. And she is in a space where she's ready to give up. And I'm just like, at that point, I broke down. And I'm like, I don't really know what to say to her. So I said, Anisi, I need you to call her. And I need you to pray with her. And I need you to give her some kind of hope, because I had no idea what to actually say. And I'm not a very emotional person, but at that point, I was very emotional in that moment. And Anisi called her, and she said, I want to fight. And at that point, Anisi called me back. Your mom says she wants to fight. So at that point, I think we really aggressively started to fight.
Believe me, and I'm thankful. Believe me, and I'm saying it all the time, because this time, last year, I was laid out. And I kept telling myself, I ain't got no COVID, ain't nothing wrong with me. It's just the flu, I just got a cough. That thing, before I know it, I was gasping for air, couldn't breathe, and all I wanted to do was lay down.
I never would have thought that it would have affected me the way it did. And so while I consider myself to have a connection, a relationship with God, the Lord, it was the emotions that took over. It was like I cried and I cried and I booed. It was just, I didn't want to lose you. And so, when my brother called and said that Keena had broken down, all I could do is just grab hold of some strength within me and go into a war prayer. And that's what I remember, going into a war prayer. You were at the point where you wanted to give up. Something happened, and there was a boost that happened to me, and I was like, it was like I was declaring that you would live and not die. And so I knew other people were praying, but it was like something shifted me. And I'm so grateful, because the emotional part was more like sobbing and like, it was different. But when he shifted me to pray in a different manner, like, you shall live.
That's power.
You shall not die.
That's that power.
It was like I was agreeing with everybody else. Because that positive mindset, we couldn't be negative. We had to think positive. And that's what I was telling them. Think positive, y'all. Like, she's got to come out of this. But that didn't kick in until later at some point. But that emotional part was just like I'm with you, Evan. I was just like, and everybody was dealing with it differently. But I know, Keena, you took on a lot, you know. So thank you for being there for Mommy, for being her strength, and for doing what you could, you know. So I don't look down on what you did. I appreciate that, and I apologize. You know, I brought
like
You said I did okay.
All right.
I did like great.
You did a good job.
Okay, you did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
You did a great job,
Thank you very
especially
much.
since you had COVID.
Absolutely.
That
And not only did I have it, both of my
So
sons
why
had
would
it.
you want
Amani
somebody
had
to
it.
walk in when you know the whole house got COVID?
Well, it wasn't that I wanted you to. I wanted you not to put so much pressure on me. Like, back off of me a little bit. I'm handling this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do Mommy wrong in any kind of way. But it was like, y'all was like, are you doing this? Are you doing it? You're not doing this. You don't. Well, I was doing what I needed to do. Not only was Mommy ill, so was Hazik, so was Akil, and so was Amani. Like, it was. Thank goodness it didn't really affect me the way that it did them. But they all were running fevers for a number of days. Mommy, of course, older, it took a little bit, harder for her, but they were all ill for at least 2 to 3 days.
At that time period, I mean, Keena was the oldest child. Like, I remember Keena coming and saying,
Come on, that's a little bit much, don't you think? You can't make somebody the oldest child. What you can say is
the way she handled it was like the oldest. Listen,
No, what you
she
can
called and
say
said, listen,
is-
we need to plan, God forbid we lose Mommy. And nobody can handle that conversation. I didn't want to.
What? That doesn't make her the oldest.
We're not listening. Do you realize silent and listen have the same letters in it? I'm not saying that she was the oldest. I think the way she handled that situation, she was leading.
Okay, she led it then.
They can totally be older than I, okay? I'm okay with that.
She reminds me all the time that I'm older.
But out of all of that, a lot of people didn't make it.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people didn't
Oh
make it.
my
I'm just
goodness,
grateful
so many.
to where we are. And God have you around for a reason,
Yes,
for a purpose.
absolutely,
Not just to work all your life. That's not just your purpose.
Yeah.
You have a lot to give.
I made it. I'm a survivor.
You a COVID survivor.
Absolutely. So come near me or don't. Your choice.
Thanks so much for joining us at the Lundy Family Dinner.
But I knew that I did not want them to fall victim to anything. And one of them has started to get in trouble. And I was determined for him not to be a statistic. Hard work got me now owning real estate. Hard work got me owning my own home. So grass out there, that's all done. Okay, low enough so that we not fine. And sometimes you suffer, right? So I was thankful that my kids had a community.
Make sure you tune in next week for the next episode of Lundy's Family Dinner.